Hello everyone and welcome to my Switch 2 unboxing video. I know this is a bit of an unusual video for this channel, but I figured I'd take the time to just talk about what's going on with the channel and everything, and I just got this in today, so might as well turn it into a video. I don't know if I'll be doing any of my normal cuts in this video or not, or just showing this off while it's here. This thing's absolutely massive compared to the original Switch. I was able to pre-order it from Walmart the night when the pre-releases started. Unfortunately for anyone who reloaded the Walmart website at midnight on pre-release day, I think he wound up being out of luck entirely. I was fortunate to find that the online queue for it started 2 minutes ahead of time, and so I was able to actually pre-order the system and had no issues, despite a lot of other people having issues with Walmart. Here's a bit of a size comparison with the original Switch. But yeah, this thing's absolutely massive by comparison. It's the size of the original Switch and a Joy-Con on top of it. The new Joy-Cons feel very nice, and the old ones are like toys by comparison. Yeah, I'm very curious to play with this and see how nice it feels, but yeah, it definitely feels like an actual controller by comparison. But yeah, looking at it, it feels like a literal gaming tablet compared to some children's toy. And thankfully, from Walmart, not only was I able to get the Switch, but I was also able to order their microSD Express card, which it's roughly the same price as the Nintendo one, but for double the storage space, and so very fortunate with that. I also got a screen protector to go with it. So in here we have the grip. There's also a charging grip available, however, they make you pay extra for that. They really did a good job with the satisfying part of it. I'm not sure how I'll feel about the flat edges here holding this controller, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. But yeah, this thing feels giant, especially with the ZR and ZL buttons in the back and the L and R on top. I'd heard people online talking about how the sticks are much smoother than the original Switch, and that is no joke. Yeah, the old one have like a kind of rigid feel to them, whereas the new ones are insanely smooth by comparison. I'm hoping that these won't have the same Joy-Con drift issues that the old ones wound up having, but I guess I'll have to wait and see on that one and find out if I'll have to pay an additional $80 or so for new Joy-Cons. The button to remove them from the grip is really nice. You actually have to apply a decent amount of pressure in order to get it to actually engage, but it's still a very satisfying system. here we have the dock for the system, which is very hefty compared to the old one. They had mentioned it has an internal fan, which will be very interested to see how loud that gets when it's running higher quality games. I've stopped playing Scarlet and Violet for the most part. However, I'm interested to see the new update to that game that makes it, I think it's 4K and 60 FPS, so it's quite impressive. And we have the necessary cables and charging block here. This thing's also incredibly heavy. And the USB-C to USB-C cable. But yeah, overall it's incredibly high quality and feels much better than the original Switch did. I'm gonna go ahead and actually attach the Joy-Cons to the system to show a comparison of screen size here. The old disgusting rail system. Go ahead and power this one out of the... Oh, I actually had the Joy-Cons on upside down. Interesting. I guess that's an inevitable issue that you can wind up having, so don't do that. But at the same time, they actually click in normally regardless. And I doubt it does anything to the system. So while I give that a second to boot up to compare the screen sizes, I'm currently working on my next video. No, okay, this thing's loud. I had planned to do it on texture errors. I was originally going to do a special episode on inverted texture errors, but wound up shying away from the time being, just so I can kind of give some background on that beforehand. I've been lazy and haven't felt like actually messing with it. I just finally got together the cards to use it for it the other day. I'm like halfway done with the script for that. So this is just kind of an intermediate video where I'll eventually actually get back to that. So we'll see when I actually upload my next video. But back to the actual topic at hand. The Switch 2 screen is absolutely massive. It makes the old one look like a runt. I never use my old Switch handheld because I destroyed the screen. I have a second one here that I've just had sitting in my closet for quite a long time to use for comparison here. Last night I plugged the thing in and let it sit there for like half an hour and still sat there with a dead battery. So I thought I killed the battery by leaving it to sit for so long, but then thankfully it suddenly actually started charging. So now I can use that to compare sizes without you looking at a cracked Switch screen. But yeah, at first glance, like in this particular scenario, the original Switch is brighter. However, I imagine once I actually get through all the settings and everything on the second one here, I'll be able to make the screen much brighter. I'm considering actually trying to use this thing handheld instead of on the TV, just because I'm sure it'll be a much more interesting experience. But most people getting the Switch 2 are likely going to transfer all their data straight from the old system to the new one. I think I'm going to use them separately and just kind of trade game key cards between them. The original Switch, I have maxed out photos and videos, and I don't necessarily want to carry that over to the new one. While the Nintendo Switch 2, I believe, It can hold 30,000 photos and 6,500 videos when it has an SD card, which is very impressive. I can't remember how many the old one holds. I think it's like 10,000 photos and maybe 1,000 videos or something, but I could definitely be wrong on that. But overall, I definitely like the feeling of the two. It's going to be an interesting experience for me because I'm weird. The way I hold the controllers is I do not use the sticks like this. I use it with the base of my thumb and press the buttons at the same time. So I physically cannot use a Pro controller because the sticks are too tall and make it impossible for me to press the buttons while using the base of my thumb to move the stick. And honestly, I don't know why all controllers are not designed for you to be able to do that, because I feel like it's just better for high-paced games where you need to be doing multiple things at once and don't just have to switch back and forth between them. I feel like that's ridiculous, but I digress. I got the Nintendo Switch 2 with Mario Kart World bundle just because I don't feel like paying $80 for the actual copy of the game. Walmart delivered it to my front door at like 6 a.m. this morning, and on top of that they were kind enough to include Pringles and a Coke with it, but I'm definitely not going to be ingesting either of those. But very nice to get this out of the box. I'm going to go ahead and go apply the screen protector and be back with this. I am back after applying the screen protector to the system. It looks really nice. It's like it's made to be there. I'm not sponsored by this company, but I used AM film. It's really nice. It was like $10 or something. I had 2 screen protectors and then all the equipment to remove it. It has a tray that perfectly fits on the Switch, and you don't have to mess with the alignment or anything, so that was very nice. Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by any of the companies in this video, but in any case, I figured I'd also go ahead and tackle the remaining stuff that was in the box. I honestly don't know if Mario Kart World is a code in the box somewhere, if it comes pre-installed on the system, but these things here, the grips for the Joy-Cons, I'll literally never end up using. However, they are very nice, so yeah, those are very cool. It's much nicer than the old ones, which, as many of you may know, had an issue where the buttons are literally minuscule on top, and it creates an issue when you're trying to actually play with friends or anything using these things. The new Joy-Cons have giant buttons, a much larger stick, and the buttons on top are actually really nice. So that's a big improvement. Also, these have the sliding for using it as a mouse, which I'm very interested to use. I think it'll work quite well. But I digress. Oh, in the exact same way, you remove everything else, obviously. And then also in the box was the HDMI cable. Of course, I was a bit worried at first because it wasn't with USB-C, and I was like, I don't think I bought an extra one of these for my Switch 2. I'm going to have both of these sitting next to each other on my dresser. My original Switch constantly has dumb connection issues with the Joy-Cons because the Bluetooth antenna either on the system or on the Joy-Cons is absolutely garbage. So if I'm playing games, it'll randomly drop inputs, or there'll be a couple of seconds here or there where it'll just stop working entirely and I'll have to reconnect. And it's really annoying when playing certain games because I just look like a buffoon who doesn't know how to aim. When in fact, well, obviously I'm going to blame the game because it couldn't be my fault. But yeah, I think that's just about everything. I'll go over the kickstand as well while we're here. It is rather a tiny bit flimsy feeling. However, in terms of the actual like adjustment up and down, it's incredibly tight. This definitely is not going to slide over or anything like that. Whereas the old one is a literal piece of garbage. I don't know what they were thinking when they came up with the old kickstand on the Nintendo Switch, because this thing will just straight up fall over. It's literally just a poorly weighted hazard. So they definitely fixed that. It's much more akin to the Switch OLED. I never owned one, however, the kickstand on that was very nice. This one, I'd argue, is much nicer. It's not as thick, or it's not an entire flat piece or anything like the OLED was, but you can actually kick it all the way back, or you might be able to hang it from something. If you have like a bunk bed or whatever and you're sitting on the bottom, want to hang it from the top bunk, things like that. So yeah, the system's a big upgrade from the old one. The system itself honestly feels like you're holding a literal tablet from how massive this thing is. But yeah, I'm happy with how the screen protector went on. The system is really nice. I'm enthusiastically waiting to play Mario Kart World, and so I'll definitely be enjoying that today. I doubt I'll be making a follow-up video with like my long-term thoughts on the console or anything like that, but I just wanted to do this short introduction to it and everything just so I can upload a video without putting too much effort into it. I doubt I'll do all too much editing for this one, just throwing the clips together and throwing it up on YouTube. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're waiting for more videos in my air exploration series, and I'll see you all in the next video. Don't forget to like. Goodbye.